This is an Awakening Zone presentation, human empowerment radio and media for the 21st century and beyond.
So, all of you listening, are you ready? And if you're ready, I invite you, each of us, to join each of us, sovereign individuals, breathing deeply, consciously, breathing and feeling. When we talk about breathing, this is just the human breath. This is the conscious breath, the breath of all that you are. When you breathe deeply and fully into your body, allowing the expansion, you tell your body that you choose life. You choose life each time you take the deep and conscious breath. So breathe. Breathing in this now moment. Breathing with clarity. And as you breathe, expanding within and expanding out, feel all that you are. Breathing and releasing tensions and distraction, releasing and opening. Invite your soul self to be here with you, breathing all that you are, with the breath, breathing with the soul, opening to this experience, opening and allowing yourself to truly open, feel, and experience. Just breathing the presence of this now moment. Breathing and inviting Adamus in close. Truly giving yourself permission to open to this DreamWalk, to experience this deeply and fully. Invite Adamus in with each breath, if you choose. Breathe and experience. Breathe and feel.
I am that I am, Adamus of Sovereign Domain. I welcome each and every one of you into this DreamWalk, into this energy, into this space, and into this dimension. I take a deep breath to draw myself even closer into each and every one of you as you take your deep breaths into your body, into your entire body of consciousness. I heard Caldra, the one you called Jeffrey, talk before about the time I came to him in 1995 when he was going through the very early stages of awakening in his life. It can be so beautiful going into this awakening, but yet so disruptive, so traumatic, and at times even dramatic. And yes, indeed, when I came to him, I said, I will be with you every step of the way. Every step of the way into your awakening, into your enlightenment. And I will be there also when you come into your ascension. And I will be there with you afterwards. So I can be there with you as an ascended embodied master. And I say the same to each and every one of you who are listening now, who are hearing the sound of my voice and the essence of my heart. I'll be with you every step of the way. That is truly my joy and my honor to be there with you as you go through this transition from being a limited human, at least from your own perspective, into your grand and glorious God self, while remaining in the physical body, while going beyond the mind, while going beyond the limitations, but remaining in the physical body, to be here as standards or as examples for other humans, many of whom are just starting to go through their awakening now, other humans who may not go through their awakening for many lifetimes to come, but your essence, your true mastery will shine on the potentials of their lives. Tonight we're going to do a dream walk into your potentials. A dream walk is that beautiful, precious time of allowing yourself to expand beyond your normal reality perception. A dream walk is where we go into the other realms, for the other realms are alive and they're real. The other realms are not just out there, not just beyond you, but they're also deep within you. So during a dream walk, we go into the inner and the outer dimensions. During a dream walk, we begin in the now and present moment. Feel yourself right now in this present moment. Whether you're sitting at your computer, whether you're laying down on your bed listening, wherever you are, you're in the physical body. Take a deep breath into this now moment, because this is the beginning point of every dream walk. The dream walk isn't about going out on an astral journey out of your body. It's not leaving your body. It's expanding from the very core of you into all the other dimensions that are available. During the dream walk, you truly get expansive, opening up to other realities, to other potentials and probabilities that are there for you and that always have been. The dream walk is about traversing the various dimensions, and every one of you has an innate ability to do this. You've always had the ability. It's not something that you even have to go to a school or a mystery school to study. It's not something that can be bestowed on you from another master. It is already part of your makeup. The ability to go into every other dimensions, you do it every night when you go to sleep. But often you don't remember. You do it when you daydream during the day. But oftentimes you just think it's some crazy daydream. You don't give it any credence or credibility. But in fact, it is very, very real. A dream walk is opening yourself to the grander parts of yourself. Most of the day, and even most of the night, you're focused on the human self, the way the human operates, its patterns, its conditions, and its limitations. But during the dream walk, we set that aside, going into the other realms. And during the dream walk, we bring those energies back to this reality, back to the reality of you sitting at your computer screen or laying on your bed or even pacing around the room. The dream walks have been practiced for eons of time by the ancient ones, by you in the times of Lemuria and Atlantis, by you when you were part of the indigenous peoples of this earth. So the dream walk is already something you know how to do. The difference is now the dream walk is done consciously, and you retain all of the wisdom, all of the energies at the end of the dream walk. Take a deep breath, my dear ones, for we start in this now moment. In this dream walk, We're going to go out into your potentials. We're going out as a very large group, whether you're listening to this live or whether you are listening to this later. It doesn't matter. We transcend time and space. Even if you're listening to this later, you're as present with us as anyone else. In this DreamWalk, we're going to go into your personal potentials, even though there is a very, very large group of us going out on this DreamWalk. You'll find that for you, it is a very personal and a very real experience. We're going to go into the field of your potentials. Potentials. What are potentials? The potentials are generally described as feelings, as potential experiences. They aren't the literal details. The details come later with the energies that you bring back. The potentials do not contain any energy right now. You could say that they are like dreams ready to be brought into reality. They haven't aligned any of the energies yet, but they can. They have all the ability to do so. When you left home, when you left what some of you would call heaven, or the first circle, or the kingdom, when you left the oneness of the Eternal One, Spirit, God, you went through this thing that we call the wall of fire. And going through this wall of fire, you came to know your own identity, yourself as a souled being. When you were released from home, you came to know yourself as the I am that I am. And in this thing that we call the wall of fire, which was really a metaphor for coming into your own, you literally created all of the potentials for everything you would ever experience, ever. All the potentials for things you would experience when you were in the angelic realms. All of the potentials for everything that you could experience when you came to this place called Earth. You imagined every potential of this lifetime. And that includes the things that you have not yet experienced. Potentials are not only the things that you have chosen or will choose to experience, but they are also the other potentials that perhaps are not experienced in the physical realm, but yet are still available to you at any time, no matter if these are potentials from the past or the future. They are available anytime. Potentials contain no energy and no details. Potentials, you could say, are grand feelings, sensual feelings. Potentials contain all of the components that will eventually bring together the energies that will eventually give you the experience in physical reality. And the experience will be experienced on every level of your being, your body, your mind, your divine. Every part of you will have this experience of the potentials. Now, most people don't live their potentials. They live their probabilities. A probability is what will probably happen. A probability is very linear. And as I've said in many of my discussions before, tomorrow is probably going to be like today. Today is probably pretty much like yesterday. The reason for that is humans have limited themselves so that they start to live only in probabilities, what will probably happen, rather than potentials, all that can happen. Note it in these next few days. Note it in other humans and even in yourself, how they live probabilities, because tomorrow will probably be like today. It's almost like a prison, almost like a restriction. It's very, very linear, very uninspired, and very uncreative, whereas your potentials are anything. Anything. Yes, anything. Now, the human mind says, well, but that's probably not going to happen because it hasn't happened yet, or because I don't have the right background, I wasn't born the right sex, I didn't come into the right family. Those are probabilities. Those are limitations. Potentials are anything. And anything can happen once you open yourself up to your potentials. The potentials were created by you, by your soul, by your I am presence. The moment you left home, the probabilities never evaporate. They never go away. They're always there. And the potentials are not just for the future, because you'll find in this DreamWalk and in other experiences similar to this, you can literally go back into what you call your past and change the potential. There are many things that you did not choose to experience in the past, but yet, working with true potentials, you can re-experience anything, regardless of time or space. So let us take a very, very deep breath now, breathing into your body, opening up your mind as we begin our DreamWalk into your potentials. The human mind limits. The human mind says, well, that's not going to happen. The human mind says, that's just nonsense. But let's go beyond the mind. Every one of you has been hypnotized or programmed into the limitations of the mind, and it's time to go beyond that. And you can't get out of your mind from within your mind, but you can go beyond your mind, from your heart, from your essence, from your I am presence. Take a deep breath as we begin our DreamWalk. And as you breathe in, relax and allow. Relax and allow a good deep breath. No tension. We're here together as a group. But you're going to have a very personal experience. And let's begin the experience, by the way. As we go into this DreamWalk, you just let yourself float. That's all. When you choose to be somewhere, when you choose to experience something, you just allow it to happen. The mind sometimes wants to go through all the mechanics. Well, how do I get there? What do I have to do? You just breathe it in, and then it is so. That is the way of a master. So we'll begin this DreamWalk by expanding both inward and outward. To imagine your house. Now this is a symbol, a metaphor, but you can imagine a physical house. It's the symbol of the I am present in physical reality. You imagine the outside of this house. It can be anything you want. Anything you want. And it's okay that it changes also, because reality changes. It doesn't stay fixed. So you may see multiple images or changing images of the house. It may be a beautiful English Tudor. It may be an American Southern plantation house, a Swiss chalet, a French mansion. Could be anything you want, this house. Take a moment and imagine. Sense this house. Its lines, its windows, its colors. That's all right if it changes. You see, your mind is trying to get it to settle down, but don't do that. Allow it to transform even as I'm talking. Feel into the materials that this house is built out of. Feel into its size. The amazing thing about the house of I am, you can have one appearance on the outside. For instance, it could look like it's a 5-bedroom home, 2 stories. But on the inside, when you open the door and go in, it can be huge. You see, the mind says, well, if a house has certain dimensions on the outside, it has to have those dimensions on the inside, but not at all. You see, the mind has its limitations. It wants to put everything into a neat structure, but reality is not like that. Imagine your house now. This is the symbol of the I am, present in this physical reality. Now, walk around the house. Walk to the side and to the back. Notice the features. This is your house. This belongs to you. Notice the height. Notice the landscaping. Are there trees and shrubs and grass? Is it overgrown? Or is it well pruned? And don't judge yourself one way or the other. It doesn't matter, really. Is the house in good repair? Or does it need paint? Does it need some stonework? It doesn't matter. Don't say to yourself, oh, my house, it looks like it's not been tended to. It doesn't matter. Because you're going to discover that you can change the house, not through mental force, not by trying to just fixate on it, but by allowing it. Right now, take it for what it is. What can you see in through the windows? What surrounds the house? Now, how do you feel about the house? Not the details of if it needs maintenance or if it's very old. But what's the feeling that you get as you walk around your house? This is yours. Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel safe? Does it feel like you've been here recently? Or does it feel like it's been a long, long time? Be aware of how the house is transforming right now as you're walking around it. Be aware how your feelings about this house are changing. This house is a symbol of the I am present in physical reality. Your physical body houses your I am presence, what you would call your divine, your soul. So the symbolism with a physical house is very real, very meaningful. Now, let's continue our walk. I want you to come with me now to the back of the house. We'll walk slowly as you observe things around. Observe what the weather is like. Are there birds in the air or singing in the trees? Observe the terrain as we continue walking at the back of the house, walking further and further. Continue breathing. And I hope you feel like you're just floating here, like it's effortless. As we walk along into your backyard, deep into your backyard. Now we encounter a very large, tall fence. This fence seems to go on forever and ever. Fence may be solid, it may be made of stone or brick, or maybe made of wood, doesn't matter. And there's a large gate, a closed gate on this fence. Let's approach that. Let's approach that gate, taking a deep breath. Now, let's pause here for a moment. In just a moment, we're going to go beyond this gate, this doorway. I'm going to ask you to open it when the time is right. We're going to go into this place that is called your secret garden. Your secret garden. It's secret because you pretty much forgot it was there. It was hidden behind this wall, this gate, this large fence, huge wall. But it's always been there. It's a secret garden because nobody else can go in there. Only you. It's yours. Yours alone. It's been a long time since you've been here. You haven't come here because you let yourself believe that it didn't exist anymore, although it always has. You haven't come here because you've gotten so caught up in your probabilities rather than your potentials. So you ignored it. To a large degree, you even ignored this thing, this house that we just visited. You get so busy with life and its details, caught up in everyday routines that you're in, and the fears and all the commotion of life. You even forgot your house, but you really forgot this place we're going to go into in a moment, your secret garden. For some, it could be emotional. I ask you to feel into those emotions. For others, it may seem a bit foreign, like you don't remember it, but you will. Let's take a deep breath, and I ask you now to open the gate, to open the doorway, so that we can go past this wall, this huge fence, into your secret garden. I ask you to open it now, and let's go in slowly. As we enter into the secret garden, be aware of all of the sensations, the feelings, what you are seeing, what you are experiencing. Be aware of the flowers and the trees. Oh, before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to remove your shoes. Take your shoes off. Some of you are telling me you already had them off, I know, but for the rest, take your shoes off. I want you to feel the earth. I want you to feel this earth on your feet. So remove your shoes and let's continue into your secret garden. There are beautiful flowers. And allow yourself to go beyond the mental definition or the mental image of a flower. Because in your secret garden, the flowers can be any size. And they can have any fragrance and any color. They don't have to fall into a particular species with its limitations. Let's approach a flower over here on your left. I ask you to go up and smell that flower. Take a deep breath and smell that flower. Now allow yourself to feel the colors, the light coming from that flower. There's no need for any mental struggle here. Just let it flow. I feel some of you are trying to get your mind to define something, but you don't have to. This is a very sensual experience. Let's go beyond the mind. Let yourself just experience. It doesn't have to make sense at all. You see, that's what you try to do back in your human life. You try to have everything make sense. Ultimately, it doesn't. Ultimately, you're missing out on so much experience by demanding that everything makes sense. But sense is only what you think the pattern should be like. As we go into the potentials, we go beyond the patterns so that a flower can be anything you want. Let's continue to walk now, feeling the dirt on your feet. What is the soil like? What does it feel like between your toes? What does it look like? Reach down, take a handful of that soil. This is your secret garden. What does the soil smell like? Make no judgment about it. Don't try to process this. Just take a deep smell of the soil. The soil is symbolic of rooting or bringing to earth your potentials. The soil is what gives the potentials that are here in your secret garden. It gives them their rooting, their grounding, helps provide them with the energy, the nutrients. You see, as I said before, potentials have no energy whatsoever. They're simply consciousness, ready to come alive, ready to be experienced. Let's continue the walk. Notice the trees. Is there a breeze in the air? Notice the sky. And notice how you're feeling right now. Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling what you call warm, comfortable? Or are you feeling that you're perhaps going someplace that you shouldn't? That you're entering into a land where you should not be? That would be sort of natural, actually. You see, this secret garden is a symbol of your potentials, a symbol of all the potentials for your life. This secret garden is the place of the potentials of your past, your present, and your future. Every flower, every tree, every breeze in the air is symbolic of the potentials. They're growing here. They've always been here. They just haven't been brought into your reality. These are all yours. They don't belong to anyone else. The butterflies that are just went past you, that's part of the potential in the secret garden. Let's continue our walk. Effortlessly, smoothly, and gracefully. Feeling into the beauty. There might be a little river, a little stream. There might be animals in the trees, in the woods. How do you feel in here? Let's walk over to one particular area I want to show you. Here there are beautiful apple trees. Well, there are many, many fruit trees all around your secret garden. Every one of these are a symbol of your potentials. They're waiting for you. Let's walk over to this grove of apple trees. And you'll notice that on these trees there are beautiful apples. They can be any color. They can be red. They can be yellow, orange, purple. They can be crystal clear. And every tree can contain a multitude of colors. It doesn't matter. You see, because in true potentials, there are no limitations. Just because I said an apple tree doesn't mean the apples have to be red. I'm going to ask you now to reach up and take one apple from the tree. Feel it in your hand. Feel its size. Now, it'd be perfectly natural, even for the color of this apple to change as you're holding it, or the size. You see, it's only the human reality that limits things, that says they have to be a certain way. But in the true field of potentials, it can change right before your very eyes. I'm going to ask you to feel this apple that you're holding. This is symbolic of one of your many, many potentials. You see, there are many apples on this tree, and there are many, many apple trees. And this is just one form of potential, this apple that you're holding. There are other potentials in every flower, in every tree, in every blade of grass, in every rock. Everything in this secret garden is a potential. I'm going to ask you to take a big bite out of that apple. Go ahead. Take a big bite. Ah. A little issue going on here. Some of you caught it right away. Isn't this a little bit like Adam and Eve? Did Adamus just trick you into biting the apple? Well, let me explain it this way. You have this beautiful secret garden filled with potentials, represented here by the flowers and the apples and everything else that's here in this garden of yours. I bring you to the apple tree. I ask you to take a bite. I ask you to embody your potentials, but it brings up an issue. Because there was a time in human consciousness, in the history of humanity, there was a time when the consciousness did not feel it was worthy anymore to take of its potentials. There was a human consciousness that goes back, let's call it, to shortly after the time of Atlantis, where the humans felt they were flawed and sinful, where they did not deserve any more to experience their potentials, but rather to experience suffering, to experience limitation, and to experience a very, very small way of living. It was depicted later in the Holy Scriptures as Adam and Eve, the tempting to take a bite of the apple and then to be damned by spirit. But let's take another look at this story. It's really about human consciousness a long time ago, feeling that it had done wrong, had gone in the wrong direction, it had lost connection with self, it had lost even connection with its secret garden. It said, we're no longer worthy to eat of the apple, to take of our potentials. So it walked out of the secret garden, feeling like it was banished from Eden, walked into the limited, almost colorless world of human reality. But now we walk back, my dear friends. After many, many lifetimes, we walk back into the secret garden, filled with your potential. We walk right back up to the apple tree. We take a bite of that apple because it was always one of your potentials. We come back to eat or to be of the potentials once again. Now, if you would be so bold and daring, so willing to let go of the past, of the old human consciousness, feeling that it was not worthy to experience the grand potentials here in the physical reality. If you're so bold and fearless, I ask you to take another bite of the apple. It represents your potentials. Potentials that go far beyond probabilities, far beyond limitations. How did it taste? Sweet? Clear? Perhaps? Amazing feelings? Sensations flowing through the body? Do you feel at all guilty? Do you feel that perhaps you're not ready or you don't deserve this? If so, take a deep breath, my dear friend, because you are. You and literally every other human on earth are ready to receive your potentials, but very, very few will. They still feel they're damned to walk the earth in suffering and limitation. They still feel that they have to take energy from others to sustain themselves, and the reality is everything you need is contained right here in the secret garden. This garden is your potentials. Let's continue our walk. You can keep the apple if you want, or you can set it down. Let's continue our walk through your secret garden as you're feeling into all of these potentials. Let me tell you a little bit more about potentials. It's the fruit hanging on the trees. It's what you see, these beautiful flowers, these grand orchards, these vineyards. Whatever you choose is already in here. Humans often get confused when they're going to make choices, when they're contemplating potentials. First, they limit themselves. It's the very first thing they do. They limit themselves, and limitations are generally based on the past. They say, well, I've only been able to do so much in the past, so therefore I won't be able to do much more in the future. Small incremental increases, perhaps, combined with some setbacks, indeed. But the first thing a human will do is limit themselves. The second thing they'll do is try to figure out the details. In other words, if one is contemplating the potential of abundance, they'll think in terms of dollars or euros, or they'll define it in very literal, detailed terms. But that is the mind defining it, the mind placing a value on it. But actually, well, let's walk over to this vineyard here. There's beautiful grapes growing on the vines. Let's walk over here, and I ask you to take a few grapes in your hand. Yes, they can be any color, they can be any size, it doesn't matter. Then just hold them there in your hand for a moment. Let's say that these beautiful grapes in your secret garden represent abundance in your life. There's no need to define what abundance means on a literal basis. You don't have to say abundance is driving a BMW or a Mercedes. Abundance is having X number of dollars or euros in your bank account. Abundance doesn't mean having so much, a certain type of clothing. Those are the byproducts or the manifestation of abundance. True abundance is a feeling. True abundance is a very deep feeling. The definition or the manifestation comes later. Well, right now, those grapes you're holding in your hand really have no energy in them. They are potentials. So I ask you to take a bite of a few of the grapes. Place them in your mouth, taste them. Feel what happens now as you take this potential of abundance into your mouth, into your body. What does it taste like? What does it feel like? Now you've just tasted abundance. You felt it course through your body. You felt how you react to it, how you feel about it. Abundance isn't the details. Abundance is a feeling. It is a potential. Later, when you go back to your human body, your everyday life, you go back out of your secret garden, you can bring the potential of abundance with you. Not having to worry about the details, not having to worry about how it manifests, but always remaining in the sensual experience of abundance. If you allow yourself to taste of abundance, to feel it in your body, literally what happens when you go out of your secret garden, you bring that potential back with you. It, the abundance, it then attracts the energy to give you a literal experience in your physical human reality, an experience of abundance. The beauty is that you don't have to worry about the details. You don't have to take some get-rich-quick scheme. You don't have to plot and plan how you get abundant. It comes into your life because you've tasted or allowed the potential of abundance. Let's continue our walk now. Well, let's just walk through these vineyards. I love vineyards. I was actually instrumental in helping bring vineyards to France in creating this beautiful byproduct called wine. As we continue to walk through the vineyards, you see, potentials are a feeling, an awareness. They're not the details. The potential for love in your life isn't the detail of a person. It's a feeling, rather. And with that feeling, with that passion, that will attract people or experiences of love into your life. But when you get so caught up in the mental issues, some of you have actually gotten on the internet and gone to these dating services or mating services, whatever you call them, to find a lover. You get caught up in all the details, but you forget the essence of love. You forget the potential of love. The details are so really meaningless. But if you focus on the details and not on the essence, not on the potentials, you'll miss out on the true experience. Let's say in this case, the experience of love. As we continue our walk, you see, when you take of a potential, for instance, let's walk over here. There's a small little lake over here. Let's just walk over there now. Small, the water is clear and pure, and it's very safe. Very, very pure. I ask you to just take some of the water in your hand and drink it. And drink this water. You see, this water is the potential of grace in your life. You can't think your way to grace. It's even difficult to think about what grace is. It's a feeling. So taste the water. This is grace. This is the potential of grace in your life. You don't have to worry about the details. You don't have to study about grace. It's a feeling. If you allow yourself to drink of these waters, when you go back into your everyday human life, it will attract now the experiences of grace. Grace being where everything flows, everything's there in the moment. There's no struggle, there's no push. It's just there. Grace is ease. It's not the details of grace. It's the feeling. Let's continue our walk, just walking around this little lake now. Just feeling into it. You see, this is a grand secret garden of yours. It goes on forever and ever. You can see out into the rolling hills, into the mountains in the distance, and it goes well beyond that. This secret garden of yours is not limited. Let's go over here. I see some strawberries. I've always loved strawberries. One of the things I miss about being a human is eating fresh strawberries. Let's go over here and what color are they? What size are they? Go ahead, these are yours. Go ahead, take one in your hand. Beautiful, beautiful strawberries. Oh, to me they were always so sweet and so tasty. I once went a year with eating nothing but strawberries. Now your modern doctors will say the body can't do that, but of course it can. You see, that was a limitation. You can just eat strawberries for a year because the body knows how to convert the energies that are within the strawberries to everything your physical body needs. You see, that's potential. So take a bite of this strawberry. There's a potential of joy. How does it taste? What does it feel like? You've just tasted the potential of joy in your life. How long has it been? See, when you start thinking just out of the human mind about joy, you actually get very frustrated because the mind doesn't really understand joy. It will try to. For you, it will try to understand joy, but it doesn't. Joy comes from the heart. Joy comes from the soul living in incarnation. That's joy. You can't study joy or plan joy. You can't make yourself go out and say, I'm going to have a joyful day, damn it, one way or the other. But you can taste of the potential. You can embody it. And then what happens is that potential is within you. You go back out into your everyday life, and now it's going to attract the experiences of joy into your life. You don't have to worry about a single detail. It's all being done for you. It brings joy into your life in a very sensual and a very real way. In a way that doesn't have to be measured, it just is. And you have joy. Let's continue our walk. Let's walk through some of these beautiful open fields right now with the lush grass. Every blade of grass here is a potential. A potential for creativity in your life. A potential for you being at ease with yourself, at peace within your own being. It's all here, and it's all yours. In this beautiful secret garden. It's safe here. You never planted potentials that are going to ultimately harm you. No, you didn't. So much of what you deem as having been difficult or dark in your life, that's come from this human limitation, not from this secret garden. It's the human who felt they must suffer, who couldn't take the bite of an apple because they weren't worthy, because they'd strayed too far from themselves or from God. It's that part of you that really came from the mind, that part of you that's created what you would call your bad experiences. But here in this secret garden of potentials, it's anything you choose and want it to be. I already know what your heart will choose. I already know what your soul will choose. It will choose the abundance. It will choose the potential of biological health. It will choose the joy. It will choose the creativity. It will choose to experience the very sensual nature of the I am in human reality. It's time to go beyond the feeling that you aren't worthy of these potentials. How long has it been since you visited this secret garden, this place of amazing beauty and potentials? This is yours. It was only you that kept you from visiting this place. Let's start heading back towards the gate where we entered. Let's walk slowly. I ask you to breathe in the fragrance of your secret garden. It's the fragrance of all of your potentials. And again, please, don't do the details. It's as simple as just tasting the potential, of feeling it, of being it. You see, you've gotten very caught up in the past. When you've thought of potentials or choices, you've gotten very caught up in the past with the details. You realize that very few humans make any choice at all, literally. Make very few choices other than what to wear and what to eat on that day. That's generally the choices that they make. There are some humans that make much more conscious choices about what they want to be in life. It's a smaller number, but there are many. There are even fewer humans that would ever choose what they want their soul to experience in this lifetime, because they don't understand the soul. They don't really understand how choices are made or come to be. And there are very, very, very few humans, a rare human, that will ever walk into their secret garden and choose and partake of and be their potentials. Very few. And even then, when most people come to this place, when they come to the place of the potentials, they put their mind to work to try to figure out all the details. And they don't have to. It actually limits it. Your potentials are anything that you're willing to taste and then to experience. And it's the broad, open concepts, things like peace or joy, things like abundance, well-being and balance. They don't have to be forced. You don't have to work them. They're actually not even magic. They're yours. They've always been here. Any potential you want. There's no set future for you. You've led yourself to believe that there was a destiny, or at least that there were certain limitations, but there are none. How I have longed for some humans, even just a few, to go into their secret garden, to sense their potentials, to taste their potentials, and then to bring their potentials back into their everyday life, to feel that they are worthy enough. These potentials, they're quantum. They go beyond. Again, the mind is going to say, but. I ask you at that point to take a deep breath. The potentials contain no limitations. The potentials care not about the past. They don't care if you've done something wrong in the past. They never have. The potentials don't care about the future, because the potentials really aren't in the future, even though you thought they were. You talk about this thing called future potentials. The potentials have always been here in this now moment. Which potentials do you choose to taste of, to experience? Which potentials do you wish to carry with you into your everyday life so that it attracts the appropriate energies to give you the sensual experience of that potential? And it also takes a very bold human to choose a potential and allow themselves to experience it without limiting it. Because that's another thing that you're going to have the tendency to do. Say, I'm going to taste this potential of abundance or love or any of the other things. But then you wonder how much you can handle. So you're limited. Say, I'll take a little abundance. But right away you've controlled it. The true potential is when you allow yourself to experience and express it without any limitations, without any fences or gates or walls around it. To experience it full on, openly, sensually. Now let's walk over to the opening, to the gate where we walked in. As we approach that gate, look back onto your secret garden. And let's not make it a secret anymore. This is your place to come back to any time. You can just frolic here. You can just enjoy here. You can come back to taste of any of the potentials. And yes, you'll always have that thing implanted, wondering if you should be tasting of that apple or the fruit. Remember, that's a very old hypnotic implant, basically saying that you are bad, you're not worthy of your own potentials. Brought down in biblical stories of Adam and Eve and the snake and the punishment of God. That's been deep, deep within human consciousness, whether you're Christian or not. That's been a symbol of limiting or totally ignoring your potentials, not letting yourself into your own secret garden. Let's take a deep breath here. You know the way back at any time. It's the garden right behind your house. And instead of closing the door behind us, keep that door open. You can secure it with a piece of rope, a chain, whatever. You can take that door right off the hinges if you choose. Let's keep that doorway open between your human physical reality and all of your potentials. Oh, you don't have to worry about anybody else getting in there. This is only yours. You don't have to worry about somebody coming in the dark of the night and stealing your fruit. This is only yours. It's only for you. You created it this way. You've been the only one to come here. Take a deep breath. And bring the essence, the flavor, the grand potentials back with you as you cross through that opening, back into your physical reality. Bring the potentials back with you. That's what they're there for. And now, take a deep breath as you cross through that gateway, back to where we started, back to your house. How's your house changed? Take a look at it now. Let's walk around your house. The one where we started at the beginning of this DreamWalk. What's different about it? Take a deep breath. Your potentials are unlimited. It's only you that has not allowed yourself to taste the fruit of your own potentials. It's time now to bring that feeling, that essence back with you. Let yourself start experiencing these new potentials. Remember, you don't have to define them. You don't have to get down into the detail. You just have to allow yourself now to experience them. A few of you are scratching your heads and saying, but I don't really know what I want to experience. I'm going to challenge you on that. That's an old excuse, saying, I don't know what I want. I'm not sure. Did I choose right? You see, now you're going mental. Now you're limiting. Go back and visit your secret garden later. Go back and listen to this DreamWalk session again. Choose a potential. Choose many potentials. Take of them into your being and bring them back into your life. You deserve it, and it's time. You've gone far too long, far too long, only living in your probabilities. The probability would normally be that tomorrow is going to be just like today until you start receiving your potentials. So let's take a deep breath together. Feel back into your physical body. Feel back into your I am, back into this very present moment. Feel yourself as you're literally absorbing the potentials from your secret garden. Take a deep breath. Bring those potentials into this reality. Bring them right here into your life. Give yourself permission now to experience them, to experience whatever potentials you choose. Question comes, will those potentials in the secret garden continue to grow? Yes, they will. As you grow, they will. In other words, said a different way, you will start to become more and more aware of the vast potentials that are in your garden, more aware of the new potentials as you start to bring them into this reality. So yes, the garden continues to grow. Take a deep breath. Into your body, into your mind, into your body of consciousness, into your spirit. Let yourself absorb your potentials. Let them be in your life, no longer just behind that wall, behind that closed gate. Bring them back. And now give yourself permission to experience them. That's all it takes. So, my dear friends, it's an honor for me to be with you on your very personal DreamWalk. You can come back here anytime you want, whether you re-listen to this session, whether you just go back to your secret garden. Just you. I suggest doing it often. It's yours. Take a deep breath. And give thanks to yourself for setting yourself free in this lifetime. With that, I am Adamus in service to you. Thank you.
So, I invite each of you to breathe in deeply, to allow yourself to truly integrate this experience with you, to breathe it in, to notice what you felt. Breathing the consciousness of you and all that you are. Breathe and allow the potentials to be with you. Breathe. Breathe and feel all that you are. And as we finish this dream walk, it's so important to breathe and acknowledge all of you, the soul, the mind, and the body. Breathing deeply, be certain that you can feel into your body. It's so easy to go off to the dream walk, multidimensional. But now it's important to be present. So before you get up and do anything, just please breathe deeply and consciously, feeling the energies fill your body all the way to your toes, wiggling your toes, feeling the ground below your feet, feeling your fingers, wiggling your hands, and being totally present in this now moment. Thank you all for joining in on this dream walk.